Ladies, let me tell you something real, something nobody explains clearly enough. When a man is crazy in love with you, when he's acting different, thinking different, moving different, it's not confusion. It is not weakness. It is not him losing control. It is because something you did reach a place in him most people never touch. Men don't fall in love the way women think they do. Men fall in love when something inside them finally feels safe, respected, and at peace. At the same time, a man becomes crazy in love when he realizes he does have to pretend with you. The world teaches men from a young age to hide emotion, to stay strong, to never show fear or doubt. So most men walk around carrying pressure they never talk about. When you came into his life, you did interrogate him. You did judge him. You did use his vulnerability as ammunition later. You listened. You allowed silence. You made space for him to breathe. That alone separates you from most people he's ever dealt with. When a man opens up to you and you don't interrupt, don't mock, don't minimize, something clicks in his mind. He starts to associate you with relief. He starts to feel lighter around you. He realizes that with you, he doesn't have to guard every word. That emotional safety rewires how he sees you. You're no longer just someone he likes. You become someone he needs. And let me tell you something else a man does. Get attached just because you care about him. He gets attached because of how you respect him. Respect is oxygen to a man. Love without respect feels empty to him. You showed respect in the way you spoke to him, in public and in private. You did embarrass him when you were upset. You did compare him to other men. You did try to control him or strip him of his identity. You trusted his intentions even when he was still figuring things out. When a man feels respected, he stands taller. He feels capable. He feels like the man he wants to be. And when a woman gives him that feeling, he connects it to her presence. He starts thinking, I am better when I am with her. I think clearer. I move stronger. I feel more like myself. That is when love stops being casual and starts becoming serious. Another reason he's crazy in love is because you brought peace. Not excitement, not chaos, peace. That is something people underestimate. A lot of relationships are loud, emotional, draining. Men might be attracted to that early on, but it wears them down. When a man experiences peace with a woman, it hits him differently. Peace feels like rest. Peace feels like home. With you, he doesn't feel like he is constantly defending himself. He doesn't feel like every conversation will turn into an argument. He doesn't feel drained after spending time with you. Instead, he feels recharged. He feels calm. He feels understood even when words aren't spoken. That peace becomes something he protects because once a man finds peace, he doesn't want to go back to stress. Men face pressure from everywhere. Work pressure, financial pressure, family pressure. Society expects him to be strong at all times. So when he, with a woman who does add weight to his shoulders, but instead lifts some of it off, that woman becomes irreplaceable. He doesn't just love her. He depends on the way she makes him feel inside. He also crazy in love because you believed in him before he fully believed in himself. You did laugh at his dreams. You did rush his process. You did tell him he wasn't enough just because he wasn't finished yet. You saw potential and spoke life into it. You encouraged him without demanding results. You stood beside him without trying to lead him. That kind of support is rare. When a man realizes that a woman sees his future, not just his present, his feelings deepen. He starts imagining life with her. Not just dating, not just moments, life, stability, growth, partnership. That is when commitment enters his mind naturally without pressure. A man becomes crazy in love when he realizes losing you would cost him peace, respect, emotional safety, and belief. That is too high of a price. That is why he starts acting protective. That is why he checks in more. That is why he starts thinking long term. That is why he shows up differently. And let me clear something up. When a man loves deeply, it doesn't always look smooth. Sometimes it looks like fear. Sometimes it looks like hesitation. Sometimes it looks like him trying to figure out how not to mess it up. Love makes men cautious because once they are invested, they know what's at stake. They know how rare what they found is. You did to trap him. You did to force him. You did to manipulate him. You simply became a place where his mind rests, his heart opens, and his future feels possible. And when a man experiences that, he does just fall in love. He holds on. That is why he looks at you the way he does. That is why your absence bothers him. That is why your presence changes his mood. It is not obsession. It is connection. It is attachment built on things deeper than attraction. So understand this clearly. A man being crazy in love with you is not luck. It's not coincidence. It's not magic. It is the result of how you made him feel when the rest of the world expected him to be unbreakable. And once a man gives his heart to the woman who understands that, he doesn't give it lightly. He gives it fully. Let me speak to you honestly, because most people never explain this from a man's point of view. When man is crazy in love with you, when his behavior shifts, when his focus narrows, when his emotions start showing in ways he never planned, it is not accidental. It is not sudden madness. It is a response to something you awakened in him. Men don't fall in love just because they were attracted. Attraction opens the door, but what you did made him stay inside. A man becomes deeply attached when he feels emotionally safe, and emotional safety is rare for men. From an early age, men are taught to hide fear, hide doubt, hide pain. So they build walls, and those walls become habits. When you entered his life, you did to attack those walls. You did to demand explanations. You did to rush him. You allowed him to lower his guard at his own pace. That patience sent a powerful message. I am not here to hurt you. I am here to understand you. When a man realizes he can speak freely without being judged or corrected, something changes inside him. He starts telling you things he's never told anyone else. Not because he planned to, but because you made it easy. Your presence didn't feel heavy. Your energy did feel demanding. You gave him space to exist as he is, not as who he's supposed to be. That kind of emotional freedom creates attachment fast and deep, and then there's respect. People underestimate how much respect matters to a man. Love is important, but respect is what defines how a man feels about himself in a relationship. You respected his opinions even when you didn't fully agree. You didn't talk down to him. You didn't mock his struggles. You did to expose his weaknesses to others. That respect told him he was safe with you, not just emotionally, but socially and mentally. A man who feels respected feels empowered. He starts to associate you with strength, not pressure. He feels like you see him as capable, not inadequate. That feeling is addictive. When a man feels respected by the woman he cares about, he naturally wants to rise to her expectations. He wants to be better, not because he is forced, but because he is inspired. Another reason he's crazy in love is because you brought calm into his life. Not excitement, not chaos, not emotional roller coasters. Calm. With you, his mind settles. He doesn't feel like every conversation is a test. He doesn't feel like every mistake will be used against him. He feels accepted even when he is imperfect. Men live under constant pressure. Pressure to succeed. Pressure to provide. Pressure to appear strong. When a man meets a woman who reduces that pressure instead of adding to it, she becomes his safe place. With you, he can breathe. He can relax. He can let go of the world for a moment. That peace is powerful. Once a man experiences it, he doesn't want to lose it. Peace also creates trust. When a man trusts you with his calm, he trusts you with his heart. He starts to open up more. He starts to invest emotionally. He starts to imagine stability, not because you demanded it, but because being with you feels sustainable. It feels like something he could build a life around. He is also crazy in love because you believed in him during the unfinished stages of his life. You did wait for him to be perfect. You did measure him only by his current situation. You saw potential. You saw effort. You saw intention. You encouraged his growth without turning it into pressure. That support hit him deeply because most men only feel valued for what they produce, not for who they are becoming. When a woman believes in a man's future, it changes how he views himself. Your belief becomes fuel. He starts pushing harder, dreaming bigger, planning further ahead. And as his vision expands, you naturally become part of it. Not because you forced your way in, but because you were there when the foundation was being built. A man becomes crazy in love when he realizes that you add value to his life without trying to control it. You don't compete with his purpose. You complement. You don't distract him from growth. You support it. That balance is rare. And men recognize it even if they don't always know how to articulate it. Love also makes men vulnerable. And vulnerability can be scary. When a man realizes he cares deeply, he becomes cautious. He starts thinking about loss. He starts protecting what he feels. That is why love sometimes looks like hesitation or overthinking. It's not a lack of feelings. It is the weight of them. He is crazy in love because losing you would mean losing peace, respect, emotional safety, and belief all at once. That is a loss most men don't want to experience twice. That's why he pays attention. That is why he shows up differently. That is why he tries, even when he's not perfect at it. You did manipulate him into loving you. You did trap him with words or promises. You simply became someone his heart recognizes as safe, his mind recognizes as calm, and his future recognizes as valuable. And when all three align, a man doesn't just fall in love. He commits emotionally in a way that is hard to undo. That is what it really means when a man is crazy in love with you. It is not obsession. It is connection built on trust, peace, respect, and belief. And once a man experiences love like that, it changes him. Let me explain this in a way that most people never hear, especially from a man's perspective. When a man is truly crazy in love with you, when his emotions run deeper than he expected, he starts behaving in ways that even surprise him. It is not because he suddenly lost control. It is because something about you reached him at a level that most people never reach. Men don't fall in love easily, but when they do, it is usually because a woman touched his sense of safety, his identity, his peace, and his vision all at the same time. A man becomes emotionally attached when he realizes he does have to protect himself around you. Men are taught to survive emotionally, not to express. They learn early that showing vulnerability can be used against them. So they keep things inside, even in relationships. When you came into his life, you did force him to open up. You did demand explanations. You allowed him to speak when he was ready. You listened without correcting him, without trying to turn his emotions into a debate. That patience told him you were different. When a man feels emotionally safe, his guard drops naturally. He starts sharing thoughts he's never said out loud. He begins trusting you with his insecurities, his doubts, and even his fears. That level of trust creates a bond that goes beyond attraction. You become someone his nervous system relaxes around. His body and mind associate you with relief that is powerful and it is rare. Another reason he is crazy in love is because you respected him in ways that mattered. Respect to a man is not about agreeing with everything he says. It is about how you treat him when things aren't perfect. You did embarrass him. You did talk down to him. You did compare him to other men or make him feel replaceable. You made him feel valued as a person, not just as a provider or a role. When a man feels respected, his confidence grows. He feels trusted. He feels capable. And when that respect comes from the woman he cares about, it hits deeper than praise from anyone else. It pushes him to become a better version of himself. Not out of fear of losing you, but out of a desire to deserve you. He is also crazy in love because you brought peace into his life. Not drama, not emotional chaos, peace with you. He doesn't feel like every moment is a test. He doesn't feel like he is walking on eggshells. He doesn't feel drained after conversations. Instead, he feels balanced. He feels calm. He feels like he can reset when he is with you. Men experience constant pressure from the outside world. They are expected to handle everything quietly. When a man finds a woman who becomes his calm in the storm, he holds on to that. Peace is not boring to a man who is tired. Peace feels like home. Once he experiences that kind of peace, he does want to return to chaos. Another thing that made him crazy in love is the way you believed in him before he had everything figured out. You did demand perfection. You did measure his worth by his current success. You saw his effort. You saw his potential. You encouraged him without pushing him. That kind of belief is rare because most people only support men when they're already successful. When a woman believes in a man during his building phase, it creates loyalty. He remembers who stood with him when things weren't certain. He remembers who didn't leave when progress was slow. That memory becomes emotional glue. You become part of his story, not just a chapter. A man also falls deeply in love when he realizes you don't compete with his purpose. You don't try to control his direction. You don't make him choose between his goals and the relationship. You support his growth instead of feeling threatened by it. That balance shows maturity, and men value that more than they openly admit. Love makes men vulnerable, and vulnerability can be terrifying. When a man realizes how much he cares, fear can show up. Fear of losing you, fear of not being enough, fear of messing things up. That fear sometimes looks like hesitation or emotional restraint. But it doesn't mean the love isn't real. It means it is deep. He is crazy in love because losing you would mean losing safety, respect, peace, and belief all at once. That is not something a man lets go of easily. That is why he becomes protective. That is why he pays attention. That is why he starts thinking long term. Even if he doesn't say it out loud. You did manipulate him into loving you. You did force emotions. You simply became a place where his heart felt safe, his mind felt calm, and his future felt possible. And when a man experiences that combination, it changes him permanently. Let me break this down in a way most people don't get to hear. When a man is crazy in love with you, when he can stop thinking about you, when his emotions seem to be all over the place, it's not random. It's not just attraction. It's not a simple crush. It's because you did things that reach parts of him most people never touch. Men fall in love differently than women think. They don't just fall for looks or charm or even sex. They fall for the way a woman makes them feel about themselves, their future, and the world around them. And when a man falls hard, it is usually because you gave him emotional safety, respect, peace, and belief all at once. A man becomes crazy in love when he feels he can be himself with you. Most men walk around carrying armor they never take off. Society teaches them to hide feelings, to stay strong, to never let anyone see weakness. So when a man meets a woman who does demand perfection, who does judge mistake, who does try to fix him or lecture him, he starts to drop the walls. He starts to open up. He starts to trust. And trust is the foundation for love. Emotional safety is not just about listening. It's about receiving him without using his vulnerabilities against him. It's about letting him talk about fears, doubts, insecurities, even failures, without fear of judgment. When a man experiences that kind of emotional freedom, he begins to associate you with comfort, with relief, with a place where he can rest. He starts letting down the parts of himself he hides from the world. That is powerful. That is rare. And that is what makes a man fall deeply in love. Respect is another reason a man feels crazy in love when he knows a woman values him as a man, as a human, not just as a partner or provider. Respect is shown in many small ways. Not talking down to him, not mocking him, not embarrassing him in public, not belittling his decisions even when he's wrong. When a man feels respected by the woman he cares about, it does just make him happy. It makes him feel worthy. And when a man feels worthy in a relationship, he wants to show up in ways he never thought possible. Respect fuels love. Peace is another powerful factor. Life is stressful. Men face pressure constantly from work, family, friends, society. Many men carry stress they rarely express. So when a woman comes into his life and brings calm instead of chaos, she becomes essential. Peace doesn't mean boring. Peace means he can relax and recharge. Peace means he doesn't have to fight or defend himself. Peace makes him feel safe and valued. When a man experiences peace with a woman, he doesn't just appreciate her, he becomes attached to her emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Belief is also critical. A man falls in love when he realizes that you believe in him. Even when he's not perfect, even when his path isn't straight. You did mock his dreams. You did push him to be someone he is. You saw potential and encouraged him to grow. You cheered for him when the world doubted him. You supported him without controlling him. That belief creates loyalty. It creates a bond that is hard to break. A man remembers who stood with him when he was still building, when he was still figuring things out. That woman becomes part of his identity, part of his story, part of his vision for the future. A man also falls in love when a woman complements his life instead of competing with it. You did challenge his purpose. You did make him choose between growth and the relationship. You enhanced his life by being supportive, encouraging, and patient. That balance of independence and partnership is rare, and when a man experiences it, he does just fall in love, he commits. He wants to show up. He wants to protect. He wants to build a future with someone who sees him clearly and still chooses him. Love makes men vulnerable, and vulnerability can be scary. When a man is truly in love, he sometimes hesitates. He sometimes overthinks. He sometimes fears failure not because he doubts you, but because he fears losing you. Losing someone who brings emotional safety, respect, peace, and belief is a loss no man wants to risk. That is why he invests in you, even if it's not always obvious. He starts acting differently. He prioritizes. He protects. He pays attention. He starts thinking long-term, imagining a future he did imagine before. Men don't fall in love lightly. And when a man falls as hard as this, it is not just about passion or chemistry. It is about connection on multiple levels, emotional, mental, and spiritual. You became the woman who made him feel safe, who inspired him, who brought calm to his life, who respected him and believed in him when others didn't. That combination is rare, and men recognize it, even if they don't always say it out loud. When a man experiences it, he doesn't just fall in love. He becomes committed, protective, and fully invested. And here, as the truth, a man being crazy in love with you is not magic. It is not luck. It is not a sudden crush. It is the result of how you made him feel when the world told him he had to be strong alone. You touched his heart, his mind, and his vision for the future in ways that are unforgettable. Once a man experiences that kind of love, it stays with him. It changes him. It shapes his choices. It deepens his commitment. It makes him show up differently because he knows what he has is rare, valuable.